A 67-year-old man came to me last year. No smoking, no family history of heart disease. He ate what he believed was healthy food every single day, yet his arteries looked like those of someone 20 years older, inflamed, stiff, worn down in a way I usually see in people who spent decades making very different choices. We talked for a long time, and the pattern we found wasn't in his genes. It wasn't his stress levels. It wasn't his weight. It was in how he reheated his dinner every single night. I'm Dr. Alwin Adewale. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, and I've spent over 30 years operating on hearts. What I'm about to share is something most doctors won't bring it up at your annual checkup. But after 60, it matters more than you think. There are 5 common foods that become genuinely dangerous when reheated, not just hard on digestion dangerous. They trigger a chain reaction inside your body that quietly damages your arteries and raises your risk of serious illness at the same time. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll never look at your leftovers the same way again. Your body after 60 is playing a different game. Here's what I want you to understand before we get into the 5 foods. When you were in your 30s or 40s, your body had a remarkable ability to neutralize damage-free radicals, low-grade toxins, minor inflammation. Your cells handled it quietly and efficiently. You didn't feel it. You didn't need to think about it. After 60, that system slows down. Your liver processes toxins more slowly. Your immune response becomes less precise. Your arterial walls get thinner and less elastic, and your DNA repair mechanisms become less reliable. Does that mean you're fragile? Absolutely not, but the margin for error gets smaller. Things that were harmless at 40 are not harmless at 65. This is where inflammation comes in. Inflammation is not your enemy. In the short term, it's how your body heals. You cut your finger, inflammation cleans the wound. You catch a virus, inflammation fights it off. That's normal. That's healthy. The problem is chronic inflammation, low level, slow burning, constant inflammation that never fully switches off. Chronic inflammation doesn't just attack one system. It damages your arteries and creates an environment where abnormal cell growth becomes more likely. I've seen both outcomes on the operating table more often than I'd like to count. The 5 foods we'll discuss all share one thing in common. When reheated, they produce compounds your body struggles to neutralize after 60. And day after day, meal after meal, those compounds add up. Let's start with the one that's probably in your kitchen right now. Fried food. French fries, fried chicken, anything cooked in vegetable oils like sunflower, corn, or soybean. You probably already know this isn't health food, but here's what you likely don't know. The danger isn't in eating it the first time. The danger is in reheating it. When you heat vegetable oils again the next day, they go through a chemical breakdown. The oil oxidizes, and in that process, it releases compounds called aldehydes, the same compounds found in cigarette smoke. That's not an exaggeration. That's the chemistry. So what do aldehydes do inside your body? First, they go after your arterial walls. They trigger oxidative stress. Oxidative stress damages the cells lining your blood vessels. Over time, inflammation builds. The walls thicken, stiffen, and lose elasticity. For someone over 60, whose arteries are already less flexible, this becomes a serious problem, one of the fastest routes to high blood pressure. But that's only half the story. Aldehydes are also free radicals, and free radicals damage DNA. They attack the genetic material inside your cells. Most of the time, your body repairs that damage. But after 60, repair slows down. Some mutations slip through, and when enough mutations accumulate in the wrong place, that's how serious cellular illness begins. Do you have to stop eating fried food forever? No, but reheating it, especially in the microwave or with more oil, that's where the damage multiplies. If you have leftover fried food, use an oven or air fryer at a moderate temperature with no added oil, or better yet, eat it cold. Now the next one surprises people every time, because leafy greens are supposed to be among the healthiest foods you can eat. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, they are healthy when prepared correctly. The problem starts after cooking. Raw leafy greens contain nitrates, naturally occurring compounds that are largely harmless in their original form. Your body processes them without much trouble. But here's what happens when you cook leafy greens and let them sit. Bacteria begin converting those nitrates into nitrites. That conversion happens at room temperature. and it accelerates when greens are stored improperly. The real problem comes when you reheat them. Heat causes nitrites to react with proteins in the food, producing nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are classified as probable human carcinogens and are linked to stomach, esophageal, and colon cancers. But cancer risk isn't the only issue. Nitrosamines also trigger vascular inflammation, damaging the endothelium, the lining of your blood vessels. When the endothelium is inflamed, arteries lose their ability to regulate blood flow. Blood pressure becomes harder to control. Clot risk goes up. For someone over 60, this combination is a genuine concern. The frustrating part is that you're trying to do the right thing. You cook spinach because it's nutritious. You reheat leftovers because it's convenient. So here's the simple fix. Cook only as much leafy greens as you eat in one sitting. Leftovers go cold into a salad. Never reheat them. And one more thing, don't leave cooked greens at room temperature. Even 1 hour accelerates that conversion significantly. Rice seems like the safest food in the world, plain, simple, neutral. Billions of people eat it every day, and yet reheated rice is responsible for more foodborne illness than almost any other staple food. Here's why. When you cook rice, you kill most bacteria, but one particular bacterium plays by different rules. Its spores survive boiling, they survive cooking, they go dormant in the heat. Then the rice cools down and those spores wake up and multiply quickly. You might think, I'll just reheat the rice thoroughly. And yes, reheating kills the bacteria, but it does not destroy the toxins they've already produced. Bacillus cereus releases heat-resistant toxins as it multiplies. You can heat that rice until it's steaming hot, and those toxins are still there. In the short term, that leads to nausea, vomiting, discomfort. But repeated exposure over time creates chronic intestinal inflammation. And chronic intestinal inflammation doesn't stay local. It spreads. The gut and the heart are connected. Inflammatory signals travel through the bloodstream and affect cholesterol metabolism and blood pressure. After 60, your gut lining is thinner and more permeable. Toxins pass through more easily. The fix is straightforward. Cool rice quickly. Get it into the refrigerator within 1 hour. Store it no more than 24 hours. Reheat once and only once. Never reheat twice a second time. Chicken is one of the most popular proteins for people over 60. Lean, versatile, easy to cook in bulk. The problem is that chicken and microwave reheating can be a risky combination. Microwaves heat food unevenly, creating cold zones, areas that don't reach a safe temperature. The outside looks hot, steam is rising, but inside, some spots remain in the temperature range where bacteria thrive. Salmonella, Campylobacter, and Listeria are the main culprits, and after 60, immunity is reduced, making these more dangerous. One episode of food poisoning is unpleasant, but repeated low-level exposure is the real issue. Each time, your immune system releases inflammatory cytokines into the bloodstream. Over time, those signals damage arterial walls, promote plaque formation, and increase clotting risk. So what should you do with leftover chicken? Avoid the microwave. Use an oven with foil at a moderate temperature, or eat it cold. If you must use a microwave, cut the chicken into small pieces and let it rest for 2 full minutes after heating. Potatoes may be the most misunderstood food on this list. The risk isn't just reheating, it's what reheating does chemically. First, acrylamide forms when potatoes are cooked at high temperatures. It's classified as a probable carcinogen. When you reheat potatoes, more forms on top of what's already there. Second, resistant starch. Fresh, cooled potatoes contain resistant starch, which acts like fiber and stabilizes blood sugar. When reheated, that resistant starch converts back into regular starch. Blood sugar spikes quickly, triggering insulin surges. For someone over 60, repeated spikes create oxidative stress in blood vessels and accelerate cardiovascular disease. So one reheated potato can trigger both carcinogen exposure and metabolic stress at the same time. The solution is simple. Eat potatoes cold when possible. Cold potato salad with olive oil and herbs keeps resistant starch intact. If you want them warm, cook fresh portions with low heat and minimal oil. Let's step back. The real issue isn't one food, it's the pattern. Reheated oils, nitrosamines, bacterial toxins all feed chronic low-level inflammation. Over time, arteries develop microscopic damage, inflammatory cells accumulate, plaque forms, arteries narrow, blood pressure rises. At the same time, cells face continuous oxidative stress, increasing mutation risk. After 60, the timeline compresses. These processes happen faster, but the body can still recover. Inflammation can be reduced. Arterial function can improve. So here are the 5 simple swaps. Fried food, use an oven or air fryer, no added oil, or eat it cold. Leafy greens, cook only what you'll eat. Leftovers, stay cold. Rice, cool fast. Refrigerate within 1 hour. Reheat once only. Chicken, avoid the microwave. Use the oven or eat cold. Potatoes, choose cold preparations or cook fresh. These changes don't require giving up foods. They require awareness of timing and temperature, and they add up. Each change reduces your inflammatory load. Over time, that shows up as better energy, more stable blood pressure, and improved digestion. I've spent decades in operating rooms seeing the long-term results of daily habits. You stop thinking in statistics. You see outcomes: arteries that are stiff, inflamed, calcified, and the question that always remains is how much was preventable. The answer is a significant portion. Not all genetics and age matter, but chronic inflammation is often preventable. What surprises me most are patients who did almost everything right, yet still developed inflammatory damage due to everyday habits like reheating food improperly. These habits feel normal. That's the problem. Over time, they accumulate. This is the conversation I wish more people had earlier before options become limited. You still have those options. These changes are simple and within reach today. Reduce the inflammation. Protect your arteries. Give your cells a better chance. If someone you care about is over 60 and reheats these foods regularly, share this with them, not to scare them, but to inform them. Take care of your heart. Take care of yourself. The kitchen is one of the most powerful places in your daily life now. You know how to use it more wisely. Everything shared here is general information, not personal medical advice. Your situation is unique, so before making changes, speak with your own doctor.